What is up, guys? Thanks for tuning in once again. I am working on a first gen CRV with the B20, and we're going to be doing a compression test with a Harbor Freight compression test kit. And it's not the best, but it will give us a generalization of the PSIs across the board of each cylinder. So let's say this cylinder here is reading 150, this one's 150, this one drops down to 100, and that one's at 100 or maybe 90. That would give you an assumption for you to say that maybe the piston rings are bad down below in the bottom half of the block, or there could be other issues where the valves are not seating correctly, or there may be leakage between the valve seal or the valve guides. So with that said, you want to remove all 4 of your spark plugs and take a look at those. So we'll take a look here, and I don't see any oil on these spark plugs, so these look to be like they're in good condition and they don't look too worn out. So that's that. So let's jump into this compression test. So take out all your spark plugs, put your spark plug wires aside, and you're going to want to disconnect the fuel pump or the fuel injectors. So you can either unplug all 4 of your injectors, or you can go inside the vehicle and disconnect the fuel pump fuse. So with that said, that's what I'm going to do now, and then we'll jump into the compression test. Okay, so we have our compression tester set up. They come with additional fittings. You only need one, the one that fits your application. So go ahead and hook this up. Like I said, it's the Harbor Freight one, so it never actually sits at 0, even when I go ahead and relieve pressure or air from the pressure relief valve. So with that said, we're going to be looking for anything between 200 and 180. That's normally a good PSI for a Honda motor, but 150 across the board isn't too bad. When you start getting like 120 and under, between that 90 and 120 mark, that's kind of you know, you got to be wary about that. As you can see right here, it's from the red to the green how it transitions. So if your motor is around the 90 to 120 psi mark, you might need some rebuilding somewhere along the lines. So let's jump right into it, and I'll start cranking this baby over. And remember, you do not have any fuel going into your motor. You don't want to flood your motor with fuel. All right, so we're going to do the compression test. Cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, put to 0. 185. In some cases, you can see if you have bad piston rings by testing each cylinder. Throw some oil in the cylinders and see if the PSI boost up by a couple PSIs. 185. Spoiler alert, cylinder number 4 is at 175 PSI, so it may be safe to assume that the piston rings may be at play here and they're not oiling the motor sufficiently. And at that point, the only real way to find out is to open the motor and diagnose it. There's a million things you can do.